If you're planning to visit Hong Kong, you probably know you want to see stuff like this and probably also stuff like this. But did you know Hong Kong also has really cool stuff like this and also like this? I first visited the city in 2007 and I've been lucky enough to return many times since then, so this guide is based on my own extensive experience of travelling all over Hong Kong. Let's get started with Tsim Tsui, which is where you can get these iconic views of the skyline you have probably seen everywhere, which you can combine with a ride on the equally iconic Star Ferry. The Star Ferry is a very cheap and frequent ferry service that crosses the amazing Victoria Harbour. From Central you can catch it from either the Central Star Ferry Pier or from the Wan Chai Ferry Pier. Both offer amazing views of both sides of the harbour, so I recommend standing up on the ferry so you can walk from one side of the deck to the other to make the most of the scenery. Once across the harbour you'll be in Tsim Tsui. Turn right as you exit the ferry and just outside you'll see a viewing platform. From here you can get those super iconic photos of the skyline. It's totally epic. It looks even better at night time, and if you visit here at 8 PM you can watch the Symphony of Lights. This is a musical light show where all the buildings flash their lights and shoot lasers from their rooftops. Also in this location is a former Kowloon Canton railway clock tower, which was built in 1915 and is the last remaining part of an old railway station that used to stand here. If you continue past the viewing platform you will reach this lovely curved path that offers more great views, but is also Hong Kong's Avenue of Stars, that celebrates the many famous people of Hong Kong cinema with handprints. The most famous star is Jackie Chan, which everyone will no doubt be trying to put their hands in. If you carry on down the walkway you will encounter that other icon of Hong Kong cinema in this larger than life statue of the mighty Bruce Lee striking one of his famous fighting poses, which is another great location for a photo. While you are here you should also pop into the large modern building behind you. This is the K11 Museum, which is kind of a cross between a shopping mall and an art gallery. Okay, it's a shopping mall with some nice art in it, but it also has a very interesting modern interior, especially the futuristic main atrium. You can also ascend the building and find some interesting roof gardens to get more epic views over Hong Kong. Once you have finished gazing at that amazing skyline, it's time to actually go and see them up close. So we're going to visit Admiralty and Central. From either the Central Star Ferry Terminal or either Admiralty or Central MTR stations, you should spend some time wandering around the amazing Central District. This is where most of the banks and businesses have their glitzy headquarters, where you can see stunning pieces of futuristic architecture such as Sir Norman Foster's famous HSBC Tower, the amazing Bank of China, the IFC and many more. This place is an absolute heaven for anyone who finds skyscrapers interesting. Also in this area are some of Hong Kong's more historic buildings from when it was part of Britain's empire. There are fascinating old buildings such as the Court of Final Appeal, which opened in 1912, and also St John's Cathedral, which dates from 1849, which is the oldest Anglican church in the Far East. The most interesting and fun thing to do in Admiralty and Central is to play a game and see how far you can walk without touching street level. Almost every skyscraper in this area has a large shopping mall or public lobby on the lower floors, and most of these are connected by sky bridges and walkways, and these are great fun to explore. They also allow a lot of really interesting views of the city from many different angles, so you can get great photos. Importantly, many are air conditioned, which is vital as Hong Kong can be hot and humid, so if you're wanting to explore the city without breaking a sweat, this area is absolutely perfect for that. Connecting onto this vertical city is the Central Market, which is a great place to find a nice variety of food to suit any taste. But also starting from here is the Central Mid-Levels Escalator, which is the longest outdoor covered escalator system in the world. The system covers over 800 meters in distance and an elevation of over 135 meters, so it makes for a fun and long ride and is of course totally free. In the middle of this busy modern area is Hong Kong Park, which offers a nice place to escape the hustle and bustle. As well as being a nice green space, it also has a lot of interesting things to explore and is one of the coolest parks I've ever visited. Here you can find fountains and pools full of fish and terrapins, or are they turtles? I don't know, let me know in the comments below. There's also a free to enter aviary here containing many interesting and exotic birds, such as this thing which looks like some kind of a fancy chicken. Let me know in the comments if you know what this is. The aviary is a perfect place to practice your bird photography, which, as you can see, I really need to do more of because my photos were quite frankly rubbish. Also in the park is this free to enter observation tower which has great views from the top. Another cool feature in the park is the free to enter conservatory, which is full of interesting plant species which are all fascinating. A short walk from Hong Kong Park is the also free to enter Hong Kong Zoological and Botanical Gardens. This is another extensive park and is full of large cages with many interesting species and is yet another location to get some nice views of the city skyline. Also in the central district is the world famous Peak Tram, which is our next location. This whisks you up to Victoria Peak for some of the best views in Hong Kong. This is however always very busy, often with very long queues. If this is your first time visiting Hong Kong, then it's definitely worth it, but if you have been here before, there is another easy and cheaper way to reach the peak, and that is to ride the number 15 bus from the Central Exchange bus terminus. This will take you all the way to the peak, and if you sit on the top deck you will get some great views on the way, and I prefer this to the overcrowded tram. Victoria Peak, also known as Mount Austin or just the peak, is 552 meters high. Once you arrive at the peak, you can pay to enter the viewing platform to get some great views, or if you want to save a little money, you can instead get some equally awesome views from the Lions Pavilion, which is more or less next door and is free of charge. This used to be a little bit of a secret spot for photographers, but these days it's very well known and gets very crowded, as people jostle to get the best photos and take selfies. So, a little tip for you, if you go down the stairs there is a lower balcony with the same impressive views but usually less people. If you want to get the very best photos from up here, then you'll need to go for a little walk along Lugard Road. This small path winds around the peak. If you walk for about 10 minutes, you will reach a section that overlooks the entirety of Hong Kong, where you will get totally epic views like these. Honestly, these are the best views in Hong Kong in my opinion. Let me know in the comments below if you disagree with that bold statement. Not too far from Central is the Man Mo Temple, which is on Hollywood Road. This historic temple is dedicated to the god of literature, Man, and the god of war, Mo. It was built between 1847 and 1862, making it one of the oldest temples in Hong Kong. It consists of a few separate halls, some of which can be entered, where the red decor and burning incense combined with the traditional architecture creates a fascinating glimpse of the past in contrast to the ultra busy city outside. There are many other temples in Hong Kong, some of which I will show you later in this video, so stay tuned for those. When most people think of Hong Kong, they will only think of the city and its skyscrapers, but the territory has so much more to offer and is also a surprisingly brilliant place for hiking. There are many signposted hiking trails leading to peaks you can tackle of varying difficulties and lengths, but perhaps the best known is the famous Dragon's Back Ridge, which is our next location. To reach this, you will need to ride the MTR to Shao Kai Wan and exit via the A3 exit to reach the small bus station. You then want to get on the number 9 bus, which stops on the side of the station. This is quite a popular hike, so there is often a queue here, so I recommend avoiding it at peak times. Then sit on the bus and chill out as it winds its way along steep curving roads, where you can get many dramatic views. You need to get off at 2 Taiwan on Shek O Road, so keep an eye on the screen at the front of the bus. From here, it's a short-ish walk up to the Dragon's Back Ridge, so called as from certain locations its long curving ridgeline resembles a dragon's back. The path is well signposted, so you won't get lost and is reasonably easy to traverse. Along the way you can grab some spectacular views over Tian Bay before you reach the start of the ridge. At the start you will get these epic views over Shek O Beach. This part was very crowded when we visited and also insanely windy, despite also being very hot and humid, but was still impressive. Luckily the peak here is easily big enough that you can walk a little way to escape the big crowds. From here you can follow the curving path that is the Dragon's Back Ridge hiking trail further up the hill for more epic views. This part tends to be far less busy for some reason and is a great way to escape the frantic and busy city for some nice peace and quiet. The path tends to go up and down a little like a roller coaster, and towards the end you will get great views looking down towards Big Wave Bay. From here you can either go back to the bus stop or you can carry on and hike all the way to Big Wave Bay. This will take about another 1.5 hours to reach. The trek is mostly flat and easy and only offers a few interesting views, so I'm not sure I recommend it unless you are really after a long walk. Big Wave Bay at the end is a nice enough beach, but for some better beaches stay tuned as I will show you some later in this video. If you do hike to Big Wave Bay, you can find the final stop of the number 9 bus on the edge of the village, making it very easy to get back to the city. Next up is the Tian Big Buddha. This can be found on Lantau Island, which is somewhat near the airport. To reach it from Central, simply ride the MTR to Tung Chung Station. From there, cross the plaza and follow the signs to the Nong Ping cable car station. This is a very popular destination, so it's probably best to book tickets in advance and avoid peak times. We visited early morning on a weekday and bought tickets on the day and had to queue for quite some time. There are different types of cabin you can choose. We recommend the Crystal cabin, which is a little pricier as it has see-through floors, but whichever type you choose, the views along the way are awesome. From the cable car end station, you then need to walk through the small village and follow the route to the Big Buddha. The Big Buddha was completed in 1993 and is made up of 202 bronze pieces on a large steel frame. It is 34 meters high and weighs 250 metric tons, which is properly big and was at one time the biggest outdoor seated Buddha in the world. The Buddha is free of charge, but you do need to climb up 268 steps to the top, which is quite exhausting on hot humid days. I've been 3 times over the years and it's always busy, so take your time and enjoy it. At the top, take some time to admire the scenic views and the impressive Buddha. Also in this location is the Kowloon Monastery, which you should also visit, and it's also free. There are 2 large temple halls, both full of golden Buddha statues that are dazzling and impressive. The temples are not that old, but they are incredibly detailed and look very cool and authentic to me. If you have a little extra time, you can also hike up to the impressive Lantau Peak, which is the second highest peak in Hong Kong at 934 meters. It was crazy hot when we visited, so we skipped this, but I can imagine the views up there are epic. If you're looking for easier epic views, then there is a small viewing platform not too far from the cable car station where you can get these great views of the temple and Buddha. Hong Kong is full of great beaches, and it's warm all year round. There is never a bad time to visit them. On Hong Kong Island there are 2 that are just a short bus trip away and right next to each other. These are Deepwater Bay and Repulse Bay. To reach them, simply go to the Central Exchange bus terminus and get the 6X bus. You can also get the number 6, but this takes you on a longer route. Sit on the bus and get off when you reach Deepwater Bay. This is the quieter of the 2 beaches. It has a long sandy beach with a marked swimming area and lifeguard stations. From the beach you get lovely views across the bay. From Deepwater Bay you can then follow the coastal path and walk all the way around to Repulse Bay, which will take 20 to 30 minutes. The path has nice views and is very pleasant to walk along. Repulse Bay is a more built-up beach area and is reported to be one of the most expensive residential districts in Hong Kong, no doubt because of the beauty of the location and its lovely beach. The beach is another wide and sandy stretch of paradise with a swimming area and lifeguards. As you can see from the footage, the weather was somewhat bleak, but don't let that put you off as it's still very pleasant to explore and I'm sure even better when the sun is shining. There are also pedestrian piers on either side where you can sit and admire the views or take great photos. Just behind the beach there are some great cafes and restaurants, making this more like a resort compared to Deepwater Bay. And that's not all. Behind all the buildings there is a path that leads up into the mountains. From here you can then climb up to a few different peaks. I chose Violet Hill, which has epic views over the surrounding landscapes and makes for a brilliant and exhausting hike. It takes about an hour to get up there and it's definitely worth it if you have the energy. Hong Kong has a lot of busy shopping districts to choose from, such as Causeway Bay, but perhaps the most interesting is Mong Kok and Kowloon, which you can reach via a Mong Kok MTR station. What makes this area a little different is the many street markets you can find here, such as the Fai Yuan Street Market, which is lined with market stores and shops selling all sorts of things. There is a pedestrian bridge at one end that allows you to get a great view down this fascinating street. Also nearby is the goldfish market on Tung Choi Street. Here you'll see many small fish for sale in tiny plastic bags like in the fairground, and there seems to be an infinite amount of different sizes and colours. Not something you can take home with you, but still fascinating to look at. Not too far away is a famous flower market road which sells, yep, you guessed it, flowers. There are so many flower shops here with so many varieties and styles of boutique to suit any occasion. Again, another fascinating place to look around. At the end of Flower Market Road there is a Yunpo Bird Street Garden which sells birds. Surprise, surprise. We got there as many stores were closing, but there was still a lot of birds ready and waiting for a new home and all squawking away like crazy. Again, probably not something you can take back as a souvenir, but still interesting to have a look around. Hong Kong has quite a few fascinating old style temples, but two of the most interesting are the Wong Tsin Temple and the Chi Lin Nunnery, which also happen to be quite near each other and both are free to enter. First up is the Wong Tsin Temple, which can be found just outside of Wong Tsin MTR station. This large Taoist temple dates from 1921 and covers about 18,000 square meters and contains many buildings, pavilions and temple halls, as well as very ornate and fascinating gardens. It is always very busy with a lot of incense burning and praying, so please be mindful when you visit. Everything is built in a traditional Chinese style and is very decorative. The most interesting part is the ornate gardens with its bridges and ponds full of colourful fish. These are very interesting to explore, so make sure you don't miss them when you visit this temple. Not too far away is the even more impressive Chi Lun Nunnery, which is near Diamond Hill MTR, which is just one stop away. The Chi Lin Nunnery is a large Buddhist temple complex which was founded in 1934 and then rebuilt in 1988 in a traditional Tang dynasty style. It is constructed entirely from cypress wood without any nails, using a traditional system of interlocking wooden pieces. There is a small museum on the site with more details and models. This location is less busy than Wong Tsin and was very peaceful when we visited. There is a very awesome looking main courtyard which gives access to the various temples, most of which can be entered, although you're not allowed to take photos inside most of them. Just across the footbridge is the Nanyang Garden, which is a large traditional Chinese garden where you can get Chinese tea in one of the pavilions. This garden is very pleasant to explore with its lakes and buildings. One of the highlights here is the Golden Pavilion of Absolute Perfection, which looks amazing and is very aptly named because it really is a perfect thing to look at. One of Hong Kong's newest districts is the West Kowloon Cultural District. It was developed on reclaimed land starting in the 1990s and now contains Hong Kong's tallest skyscraper, some world-class museums, shopping malls and a great public promenade with amazing views of the city. Rising above the district is the 108-storey, 484-metre super tall skyscraper known as the International Commerce Centre or ICC. On the lower levels is an extensive shopping mall full of luxury brands, and the top floor has restaurants and an observation gallery you can pay to enter. I didn't go up this time to record a video, but I remember going up some years ago and being astonished by the epic views. Just below the ICC is the M+ Museum, which has a range of exhibitions mostly focused on contemporary art. The building was designed by world-renowned architects Herzog and de Meuron and in partnership with TFP Farrells and Arup, and it was opened in 2021. It houses an interesting collection including sketches, electronic media, installation objects, painting, photography, architectural models, printed matter, sculptures and time-based intangibles, and is worth looking around. If you don't want to pay to enter the exhibition spaces, then you should still visit the museum, as the lower floors are open to the public and have viewing decks with great views of Hong Kong. Also in West Kowloon is the Hong Kong Palace Museum, which was opened in 2022 and was designed by local architects Rocco Design Architects. It houses a vast collection of Chinese artifacts from Beijing's own Palace Museum. This consists of many rooms full of fascinating objects from the Forbidden City, many of which have never been on public display before. There is a small fee to enter, but this is worth it, especially if you are interested in Chinese history and art. The best part of West Kowloon, however, is the harbourside promenade. This expansive area has cafes and restaurants, but the main attraction here are more stunning views of Hong Kong's skyline. It's also one of the best places to see the sunset, so even if you have no interest in the museums, you should still come here, relax and watch the sun go down, which seems like a good place to end this video as it's getting very long. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know if you disagree with my picks in the comments below. I hope to see you in another video. Cheerio!